This morning in our Sunday Spotlight, we're talking about holiday travel. How busy will our roads and airports be over the next week leading into Christmas? We're putting that question to Tracy Noble. She's the manager of public and government affairs for AAA. Tracy, thank you for being with us. I know a lot of people are looking at that calendar and they're trying to figure out the exact best times to go and where to go. But the one thing we do know is there's going to be a lot of people on the roads, 115 million, according to your estimates.
That's correct. AAA is anticipating 115 million people traveling for the year-end holidays, and that's up 2.5% over last year. And that period is between December 23rd and January 1st. So a very busy end to this year.
Now, when you look at that, I know it's up year over year. The biggest year you had was 2019, which was 119 million. So you commented in the press release that people are investing in travel despite the cost. So do you have a feel for why the numbers, they still haven't gotten back to 2019? Is it somehow still a COVID thing? Is it people have changed their habits? As we look at this, and we have a graphic up here showing some of the percentages that you provided, that 2019 number looms large. Do we know why we aren't back there yet?
Well, it's a myriad of things, but 2023 has seen increases in travel for all the major holidays this year. That 2019 year was the record. And we are slowly creeping back up there. But this year, people are still being driven by staying home past for COVID. So people are moving, and of no surprise, most people are actually traveling by car this holiday, with the majority taking to the roads.
Yeah, we have a breakdown as well of the different modes of transportation. 90% of travelers, heading in a car somewhere, and that's 50 miles, I think. Is that what you're saying is the average?
Yes, that's 50 miles or more from home.
And then, of course, gas prices looking a little bit better. So if you are trying to, in a time when things are more expensive, maybe that is a safe bet. Is that some good advice?
It is good advice. And gas prices are around $3.25 per gallon right now. So that's been coming down consistently over the course of the last month, and we're expecting that trend to continue. We hit our high price for the year back in September in Connecticut. So prices have been slowly coming down, and that's good news for people having extra change in their pockets.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to get on to some other things, but first, let's stay on the roads just for a moment. We've had, unfortunately on the news, we've covered some tough situations, some bad crashes, some people have lost their lives on Connecticut roads. Is there anything that as you're looking at some of the data and looking at what people are going to do, there's been complaints about too much speeding and reckless driving and things like that. How does that play into all this?
It plays into it in a large way. So we've got this time of year when we've got the majority of people traveling by the roads. So we know our roads are going to be extremely congested, but we need people to make a conscious effort to do better. We've seen increases in fatalities and crashes. We've had an uptick in wrong way crashes in Connecticut, as well as pedestrians. So we're asking everybody to make smarter choices. So if you're driving, we ask that you are sober. If you're planning to have a holiday cocktail, find another way home. Also, eliminate the distractions. These are choices that people make behind the wheel. So we're asking people to make better choices.
One thing you did look at is some of the destinations: Orlando, Anaheim, Chicago, Charlotte, domestically, London, St. Thomas, Aruba. That sounds pretty good to me. And you looked at Orlando and said that the average flight to Orlando was down $100 year over year. So there is some savings to be had, but I know I've traveled recently. Those planes are packed.
The planes are absolutely packed. So yes, there's some savings, but hopefully anybody that is traveling has already booked their ticket. So if you're traveling to the airport, know that the airlines are going to be extremely busy. You're going to need to get there at least 2 hours ahead of time if you're flying domestically, 3 hours if you're flying internationally, and give yourself some space and time. That way you can get through security and, relax before you get on that plane to your destination.
And, another thing I saw in your release that I think people might not think of, that airport parking, reserve the spot now so you don't get there and have to drive around looking for a place, right?
Yep, that's absolutely correct. Same goes for rental cars. So we've seen rental car shortages in the past couple of years. It's gotten better this year, but make sure you have a reservation before you get to your destination, because you might find yourself without a car otherwise.
One other thing that was super interesting in the research that you guys put out was those peak travel times. And they weren't always exactly what I would have expected. It looked to me, in looking at it, and you can tell me if I got it right, Tracy, Saturday the 23rd from 11 to 7 and Thursday the 28th from 2 to 8. Those are like the no-go times. Does that sound right?
That sounds correct. So those are going to be the busiest days, because this is a 10-day travel holiday period. It's not traditionally where we're going to see a single busy day, but those 2 days are expected to be the most congested.
Is there good advice for the best time to go? I mean, I kind of smiled when Christmas Day is going to be quiet, so you could travel then. But is there, assuming you don't want to go at 2 o'clock on Christmas Day, is there another time if people are trying to, scope out where they're going to go and when they're going to leave? What should they be thinking about?
Well, think about those early birds and those night owls. So if you are a super early riser and you can get the rest of your family together at early hours, then head out as early as possible. And the same goes for those people that are comfortable driving at night. Those later hours will be less congested. It's that 11 to 7 period that you mentioned that are going to be the most congested, especially heading out to the holiday. And we do have some people that wait until Christmas Eve or Christmas Day to go to their destination. So those people might get the better end of the deal.
All right. Good advice. Tracy Noble from AAA. Thank you for being with us here on CT23.
Thank you so much for having me.
And that is CT23 for this week. CBS Sunday Morning, of course, is coming up next. Have a great rest of your weekend. We'll meet you back here in Studio A next Sunday morning.